In this video, I want to share with you 5 reasons out of the infinite reasons of why tonic herbs might not work. And what I mean is, I'm referring to a situation where perhaps a person buys an herbal product, takes it, doesn't notice anything. So why would this happen? What could we really understand and learn from this? Well, the first reason is that perhaps that herb was of just low quality. And that is because if you go to the health food store, Whole Foods or your local place or whatever, the vast majority of the stuff on the shelf is, number one, probably not even really what it says on the bottle. And if it is, it's probably the lowest common denominator of quality for that particular product. And this is not just my opinion, this is I can't remember the exact name of the study, but there was something that some organizations in the US and organizations in Canada did where they went and just sampled and bought a whole bunch of products off of all the common stores and off the shelves, and then tested them in a lab to say, is this actually what the label claims? And I think about 80% of what they found was no. Was that it said it was this, but it was actually something different, or it was just filler. Or for example, let's say you go to the store and you buy a reishi mushroom product. Well, odds are it's either going to be just ground up reishi mushroom, or it's just going to be ground up mycelium, all of which is a ripoff, not worth your time, your money, or really even worth putting through your body. And that is why, just as a personal note, for all my products on Hyperion Herbs, they're all concentrated extracts, and they are all independently tested and validated by third-party labs at various stages of the process. So we have testing that says that if I say it's a 10-to-1 extract with 12% polysaccharides, there is multiple tests which say it is a reishi extract, that is this ratio, that has this amount of polysaccharides, done by a third-party lab, which we basically just send our stuff out to get it done. And there's other testing which is done that says it doesn't have heavy metals, it doesn't have, E. coli and yeast and mold and fungus and all kinds of other things. So that's a really important thing because number one, I only want to take the best herbs for myself personally, and number two, I only want to share the best with other people that may or may not want to take them. So that's the first reason, is perhaps the product was just low quality, which we're talking about the herbal supplement market. Most of the time, that's unfortunately the situation that we're in, which is why we need to educate ourselves and have some cognizance with what we're taking and understanding that we get what we pay for. So the second reason is that perhaps it's just not the right herb for us. I have some stuff on my shelf right now that I take it, I don't really notice anything. I have some other stuff on my shelf that I take it, I'm just immediately like, oh, this is amazing, feels really good. Just because maybe it's just not really the right thing, or like really what we need. Because we can read about something or hear about something, and to our brain it says, wow, this sounds great. And then we make up an idea about what that word means. But maybe what the person that wrote it meant is something different, and maybe our actual body doesn't need that. So that's also another thing that can happen. Which is why I'm always recommending people listening to their body and developing sensitivity. Which gets us to our third reason, which is low sensitivity. Meaning maybe we're just not really sensitive to our body and how things affect us. Maybe we're numbed out, maybe we're stressed, maybe we're who knows what, but we're just not really sensitive with what's actually happening. And we have to understand that there's a spectrum of sensitivity and sensation and perception. And if our whole lives we've been way over here at the aggressive end, meaning guzzling soda and sugar and like harsh stimulants and caffeine and all kinds of stuff, which is really abrupt and in your face, but typically has a lot of negative side effects, then sometimes if we're at the other end of the spectrum, or maybe we just have a holy basil tea, maybe we don't notice that much. Well, if we're expecting it to be just like whoosh, lighting us up like we just smoked a cigarette or ate a donut or something, I don't know, it's not necessarily the same. However, it can eventually be like that. Because if we develop our sensitivity enough and we remove the harsh pollutants from our body, then we can actually become more sensitive to things that can have profound effects, whether it's breathing or meditation or yoga or qigong or tai chi or taking herbal supplements or teas. We can get really sensitive to those and have really strong reactions to them. And then we're able to say, oh, this works for me, this doesn't work for me, or vice or anything in between. So that's the third reason. The fourth reason is maybe it's just the wrong dosage. Maybe we need to take a higher dosage, maybe we need to take a lower dosage. And it's not always that more is better. Personally, with my extracts from On Hyperion, I typically take like a half teaspoon tops. Like, because if I take like a quarter teaspoon or so, like I feel that. Granted, I've been taking them for years. I've been working on my sensitivity for years now, and I'm very familiar with the herbs. My body's very familiar with the herbs, and that's just where I am. However, other people, quarter teaspoon, don't notice much. They take a teaspoon and it's like, oh, now I'm feeling it, now it's working. Okay, well, just need to adjust. Or even I have some clients and some people that I know personally, they just take an eighth of a teaspoon and they're just like feeling it. So it's really just depends. But it's really contingent upon actually all of these other things. If it's a low quality product and it's not really the right herb for us and we're not really that sensitive in tune with our body anyways, kind of is a moot point. And then the last reason, number 5, is maybe it's just the wrong time. So for me, how I really started to develop sensitivity for herbs was basically taking them on an empty stomach or fasting. Or basically what I did was wake up first thing in the morning, drink water, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, do that, and then have an herb, and then basically meditate for 30 to 60 minutes. See how I felt, see how things were feeling. And by closing the eyes and calming the mind and turning everything within, you get really way more sensitive, either to how you're reacting or not to the herb, or just your your normal baseline state of crazy or anxiety or whatever that is inside. But that's what I did, and then over years of doing lots and lots of different things, just developed more and more sensitivity. And it's just like with anything, you know, you wouldn't expect to be a concert pianist overnight. You wouldn't expect to be good at anything in the world just overnight because you decided to and you decided that you should. We all understand there's a process, and we kind of get out what we put in, and we kind of get what we pay for. Meaning, if you were a pianist but you never practiced, and you had a piece of junk piano that really was out of tune and really didn't work, it's not going to get very far. So these are all very common sense, very practical, pragmatic, easy to understand things. And they're just 5 things that I wanted to share with you, just to share some of my experience from being a consumer of all of these amazing substances and a manufacturer and distributor of various tonic herbs and high quality teas. So hopefully it sheds some light and gives you some actionable thoughts, processes, or concepts to empower your usage or not of tonic herbs, though I doubt if you're not using them or not interested in them, you're probably not even watching the video at this point. But either way, it's just something to keep in mind. Granted, there could be a myriad of other reasons, but I just wanted to pick 5 of kind of things that were the most obvious and upfront for me. If you have any other reasons that you can come up with, maybe I'm totally full of shit and tonic herbs are total garbage and they're a total scam and only modern science and pharmaceutical drugs are good. That's cool too. Maybe that's why they don't work. I don't know. That's what some people believe. But you know, there is always Chinese medicine, which has been using herbs for thousands of years, and other indigenous cultures have been using herbs for thousands of years. It is possible that maybe they were completely wrong and just a placebo effect for a few thousand years. I don't know, maybe. Anyways, before I go off on a tangent, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, like the video, post a comment below. Check out HyperionHerbs.com, which is my company. You can check out the blog on there. There's tons of good articles and really good information if you want to learn more about herbs, or just browse around the shop and you can read. There's lots of good stuff on on all the product pages. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.